How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Draft to the Future. I'm Matt. Ryan is on social media because I don't know how to do it. We are talking about our All-Star Game winners and losers, particularly the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl. So I just got back from some travel, but lots of cool stuff coming up on the channel. We're going to dig into our top 10 for each position, at least as it stands for now. Sooner or later, we're going to start unveiling our big boards. And we got a mock draft for you tonight, so stay tuned for that. But without further ado, Ryan, what do we got?
All right, yeah, let's start. Let's start with the Shrine Bowl. Shrine Bowl happened about almost 2 weeks ago now, I think. Maybe a little less than that, but the Shrine Bowl is always the interesting one. They've been pulling a lot better players lately, and so they've had some guys that really caught my eye. And let's start with the Navy. I felt like both Navy players did a lot to raise their stock this week. Eli Heidenreich did exactly what he did at Navy. He was great out of the backfield, great as a receiver. He just looked like a very high quality all around player, and I think that solidified his draftable grade. And then Landon Robinson, you want to talk about him a little bit?
So Landon Robinson, we got to go over our pros and our cons. He's a natural leader. He is elite with what he does on field drills. His hand placement, his foot, his foot movement, his use of leverage. The fact that he's 5'11" is going to hurt him. Whether or not it should is a conversation you can have depending upon how you feel about measurables. But 5'11" would make him easily either the shortest linebacker or the shortest defensive lineman in the NFL, with the exception of like one or two other guys. But the one or two other guys I'm thinking about are like 330. So do you bring him in and keep him in the weight room and help him build that up a little bit? Or do you keep him as a versatility tool? So you look at his play on the field and even how he held himself. He has not yet been shut down, and that is to his credit. I think the reason he's a riser out of these games is because he leveled up in competition with people who were bigger, stronger, faster, and he still needed a minimum of two humans occupying him, or he was a problem on that field. And that is what's going to help him. And it's going to be interesting to see, is he drafted? If he's drafted, where? Because there's going to be a conversation in every draft room about 5'11".
Yeah, I think at a minimum he showed he can be a pass rush specialist initially, right? Because he's got that juice in the pass rushing game. Similar to where Aeneas Peebles, he went in round 6 last year, an undersized defensive tackle. Who was known for more of the pass rush, and maybe that's where he can fall. His defensive coordinator did just get picked up from the Ravens on their staff, and I swear I will be happy / depressed if he goes to the Ravens as a Bengals fan. But we'll see. But moving on, Mark Gronowski is another guy that I thought did well. If you've watched this channel at all, I followed him all season. Was mostly disappointed for the season just because the Iowa offense wasn't great. He was up and down, struggled a lot. But I thought he pushed the ball pretty well down the field in this game. He seemed to command the offense pretty well, which I know it's a dumbed down offense. It's small. It's meant to just show players what they can do. But I thought he did pretty well, and he was accurate. So I think he at least maybe got a little more push towards being a back into day 3 backup. But did you get to see much of Caden Wetchen?
No, there are only about 2 other guys I can speak about, honestly.
Okay. I'll talk about Caden Wetchen. The return game. He made some catches as well, but he's going to be that guy that is taken on day 3, back into day 3, and he's going to immediately improve your return game. And so that's going to be pretty easy. And Jaden Duggar's a guy I had no clue about. Really, honestly, before this game, like I had his name written down, but that's about it. Um, but man, he was all over the field. I think he had like 8 tackles. He just seemed like whenever there was a play, he was there. So he's someone I haven't looked into a ton, but I've seen a lot of draft analysts start talking about him, and that's a guy I'm going to try to look into a little bit more.
So, one of the guys I can talk to is Eric Rivers because I followed him all year, not on the channel, but he really shined in my preseason rankings and kind of what I was looking for. And I think the mistake he made was going to Georgia Tech. That was a bad call. And what he showed in the Shrine Bowl is no, I'm a good receiver who was on a run first team.
Yeah.
So what he is good at separating, reliable hands, steady consistency. That's where he shines. We'll see what I don't have his measurables memorized, but we'll see what that all kind of contributes to. But the Shrine Bowl helped him because it answered the question, was it you or the system? He's like, no, totally the system guy. So that's what I saw out of him. You want to bring up another guy before I talk about the only other dude I can talk about?
Sure. I'm assuming that's going to be Heldman, right?
Yeah, Hellman's the only other guy I'm tracking.
Yeah, I'll talk about Rucci. He looked like he was handling most of the players that were sent his way, and was very consistent in that pass blocking. And so I thought that was good. And he's a Penn State guy, so he's going to have that. He's going to have that pedigree that people are looking for. And then the last guy before you talk is Mason Rieger, another guy I had known the name but didn't really know anything about him. But man, he had like 3 sacks. Just looked like he was overpowering people, and he looked like he was T.J. Watt against the Bengals offensive line in past years. So I thought that was someone I'm going to now have to look into, and his metrics, speak pretty well. So that's a guy that I think is getting a lot more attention now.
So I can actually, I'm going to expand a little bit on Rieger Heldman because I've been tracking Heldman all year because his production's screaming, his measurables are screaming, and that left me screaming. Why is no one talking about him? So I went and watched some footage. I got him at an 89 production grade. I don't have any confirmed measurements, but they sure look good. I think what I notice and why this is relevant to our current conversation is you need get off when you're an edge rusher. And Heldman's problem is he's pretty slow off the ball.
Yeah.
Now, when he's quick off the ball, he's great. And in the Shrine Bowl, he showed that pass rushing ability. The other knock after looking at the film and really because data-driven film confirmed, the data's like, dude, the film shows 2 problems: slow off the ball, and he has to prove he can fix that or develop that. And the other problem is it looks to me when I watched through the 3 games that I looked at to dig in, because I got him ranked like number 8 on my overall. I have him as my number 9 ranked pass rusher in this class. That's how highly I think of him. But he doesn't have a pass rush plan. He picks a spot and he says, I sure hope the quarterback's going to be there. And he goes to that spot. To his credit, he gets where he's going. But the quarterback may or may not be there, and he doesn't have a second move. He doesn't have a follow-up area. So that might be the answer to the question, why is no one talking about him, because of those 2 problems. But if you got information on that, you can throw that in the chat, and I would love to see your sense on it, because after watching him at the Shrine Bowl, I'm like, still dominating linemen. Like, you could do worse.
Yep. Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about the people who probably fell a little bit at the Shrine Bowl. I'll talk first about a guy I followed all season, Dante Corleone. I thought he should have come out 2 years ago anyways, after an incredible season. But he chose to go back for another 2 years, and man, he looked very large. Looked like he had gained some weight. I know he was struggling with some injuries, so I doubt he's been doing too much heavy working out since the season ended. He's just probably trying to get healthy, but he chose not to weigh in because of that. And I bet you he's every bit of 360 right now. And he did look pretty solid and stout in the run in some of the drills on the first day, but then he left and he was in a boot for the rest of the time. So I think we're looking at probably late day 3 for him now, which hopefully that means that my Bengals can grab him and he can just stay home in Cincinnati. But any thoughts on the other two that I put down there?
So I saw you put Demonte Capehart there, and I wanted to get defensive, and then I had to sit there and think about it. I still believe in Demonte Capehart, but I cannot argue. Well, I don't have a lot of evidence to argue with you in his Shrine Bowl performance.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I want to see if what I think you're saying is what you're saying. He needed to go in there and dominate.
Yeah.
And he only went in there and was okay. And
yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah, he was okay in the run and non-existent in the pass rush during the game, and that's where like I wanted to see, because Clemson just had a rough year, and I was like, maybe it was just Clemson had a rough year, but then he didn't look great. Now is he probably somebody that's still going to be drafted? Yeah, but I felt like if with a dominant senior Shrine Bowl performance, and then going into the actual combine and potentially testing pretty well, he could have got himself into that like edge of day 2, day 3 range. But the other guy that I've got listed here, Damani Jackson,
he got cooked.
He couldn't stick with anyone in the drills. His hips looked stiff, and I just, if you're getting beat, like now, in his defense, the one-on-one drills, most of the time the wide receivers win those anyways. But even in the game, he wasn't very sticky in coverage. So I don't, he is an Alabama player, so he'll probably get drafted, but he did not look great. Any other last people that you saw as fallers in the Shrine Bowl, or you ready to move on?
Not in the Shrine Bowl, no.
All right, so let's move on to the Senior Bowl. So I'm gonna let you start and see. I know there's at least one guy that you're a big fan of.
Yeah.
So I'll hit some running backs real quick. So we got a handful of running backs on this. Basically, everybody from one side of the field, their running backs look great. Jamari Taylor, out of I believe Virginia, he broke off some really nice runs. Looked like his vision was solid. He was hitting the hole at the right time and just making the decision and going. Jaden Knott is the most confusing player because last year he looked like a really solid player, and then I've got no clue what happened with him at Oklahoma. Like he transferred
like 25 attempts.
Yeah, he transferred to Oklahoma and then like just didn't play, and I don't think it was an injury, but he just never really saw the field. But man, he looked solid in this game. He was over 5 yards per carry, had a touchdown. He looked like the player he was in Cal, which a lot of people had him pretty high. And then lastly, Kalen Black, who I was surprised to even see play in the game, coming this quick out of the national championship. But he really ran hard between the tackles, definitely showed some burst. I think he can be a guy that's going to probably be drafted day 3, but it's going to be an impact player in a team. But let you talk about your guy now.
So, I was starting to like dig into data and dig into what I'm seeing. And as I'm looking at Max Ihenacho for ASU, I was like, is he a first rounder? And I'm looking at his performance and I'm looking at his measurements. I'm like, is he? And then he just owned. I would have named him one of the MVPs of the Senior Bowl. There was, like Ryan mentioned, 6 running backs. They all ran behind Ihenacho. How hard is it to have 5 yards of carry when he's just like knocking people over like dominoes? He was shifty with his speed, efficient with his motion, strong at the point of attack, and he is confirmed a first round grade, at least on my end. And I was just super impressed.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about a couple wide receivers. There's another one down at the bottom, but I'll save him for last. But I'm going to talk about a couple wide receivers here. A very, very last second ad, Donovan McCulley, wide receiver out of Michigan, which Michigan's quarterback play this year was non-existent. So, not really his fault. He couldn't really do much there. And he made some really nice catches, and especially with how quick, how last second he was added to the game, that impressed me quite a bit. And then the other one was Cyrus Allen out of the University of Cincinnati. As a Bearcats fan, I mean, you can see it in the background there. I was so impressed with him this year. He was like an absolute monster in the red zone. He had so many touchdowns this year. But it felt like he wasn't used properly at Cincinnati because he is super shifty, has quick feet, can run some really great routes, and gets a ton of separation. And that's exactly what he was doing during the Senior Bowl week. And honestly, he's pushing up towards that day 2 range for me. I think I probably have him as a 4th round grade right now. But I think he can be a really dominant slot at the next level.
I actually need to dig in on him. I don't even have him on my board right now. So
neither did PFF before this.
Who I can talk about is Keelan Rutledge. So on one side, I'm going to he was probably one of the darlings of the one-on-one drills.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much he really helped himself, but I do think he confirmed I'm a nasty people moving, plug and play guard who's never going to let you down. So I hate to rickroll you. Sorry about that, but he just kind of verified. Oh yeah, that's who I thought he was. Yeah. And that's not bad. I think he's going to be like a fringe top 100 guy, and he's probably going to see the field a little bit sooner than later. But it's nice to look at a guy and think okay, this, we all like the ones who are surprises. Like Ian Archer to me was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
But seeing Rutledge come in here and be like, nope, there he is. That's just how he works. It helps you in that you see the all-star kind of performance, and he's still kind of steady Eddie in that field, which I think to be fair, a lot of the interior guys really just kind of kept proving it. But I'm tenaciously defending my opinion that this is the greatest interior O-line class I have ever seen since I've been a fan of the draft.
Okay. Quick little love for Drew Stevens, some special teams love. Yep. A lot of people consider him the best kicker in the draft, and he made a really nice 51-yard field goal in the wind. But you mentioned surprises, so I'm going to talk about the guy that was a surprise to most people, but I was personally already tracking him and loved the guy. Is Nadame Tucker. I think that's how you say his name. Yep. He is a little bit older, but he showed some explosiveness. He got tons of sacks. He nonstop pressure. Now, the thing that is going to be his downfall, it was the run game. He doesn't do much for us in the run game there, but I thought he looked really great. And for a guy about trying to improve his stock, that's exactly what happened in this game. I think a lot of people that weren't tracking him at all are now starting to pay attention.
I think, and I just want to go off on a tangent here briefly. As we were talking, it just kind of dawned on me the problem with this interior defensive lineman class. You have guys who are just amazing run stoppers.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to shut down the run. That is what they do, and they are awesome at it. And then you have guys who are amazing pass rushers.
Yep.
But that is it. Like they are at best mediocre on the other side. So teams are going to have to decide when they're going to draft their run stopping or pass rushing specialist guy. Because with the exception, he better be on this list. Lee Hunter's on this list, right?
I did not put him on this list, but we can.
Okay, I guess I'll go right into that then. That would be the guy
There
I
you go.
talk about. Although I do want to talk about the other guy. Lee Hunter is did he make it to number 1 on my list? I don't know. I shouldn't spoil that. But Lee Hunter is at worst above average in both categories.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who's plus on both sides consistently throughout his college career. And he proved on the field, because I know that Texas Tech got frog stomped, but it was not that defensive's fault, and it was not that D line's fault. They did their job.
Yep.
And then the Texas Tech's offense came in and just ruined what may have been one of the best defenses I've seen in the last couple of years. And Lee Hunter is a linchpin into that. He frees up people on the outside. He dominates against the run. And I would say he's above average in pass rush, which is why he's in the conversation for interior D linemen coming into the class.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about the other guy, and then we'll come back on the on the tight end.
Yeah. Are you talking about the wide receiver?
No, I thought you were going to talk about Peyton.
Oh, yeah, I was going to save the quarterbacks for last.
Okay.
So Tyron Montgomery, he was the guy out of a D3 school, I believe. Had some crazy catches. I believe he's in the American Bowl originally, and he balled out. You know, he killed practice, but struggled quite a bit in the game, in my opinion. So I'm not too impressed, but without question, he got some attention and definitely improved his stock. You want to talk about Kazmarek real quick?
So Kazmarek was someone I was super impressed with. I would say he's the best run blocking tight end in the class, easy. Are you going to dispute me on that one?
I can get behind it.
I was super high on him, and then I had to dig into it a little bit because when I talked to Ryan about an Ohio State guy, and Ryan's like, I don't know about that. Then I have to pause because So his 1.1 yards per route run or something like that. I had to cool off on him a little bit on the receiving side of it. But what he showed was I can be a receiver. But if you're drafting me, like the Niners clearly need a pass blocking tight end, and he would fill that role in that day 2, early day 3 range. And he's got a little bit of upside. So I've cooled on him a little bit, but he showed the ability to play. But then and we'll talk about the losers here. Outside of pass blocking, this was not a good day to be a tight end.
Yeah. So into the quarterbacks, I think that one of the guys that showed the most upside, and to me, in my opinion, solidified my view of him as QB2 is Cole Payton. His athleticism was clear. His arm was solid. Sometimes, his throwing motion is a little rough, and his accuracy can get away from him at times. But he's got such good athleticism and instincts that I think he can work his way into a role at the next level, and buy himself some time. I think that's one of the announcers actually said is his legs and his athleticism can buy him time while he works on building up the other part of his game. But if he goes to a team where he's not expected to be the guy year one and can take over a little bit later in his career, there's so much upside. Now, his floor is incredibly low. Like, his floor is, hey, maybe you're going to be a fullback or switch you to tight end. But his ceiling is through the roof.
Yep.
We talk on Nuss?
Well, I got a third. I got a third round grade on Nuss, and you're higher on him. So,
Well, I'm not higher on him. I have a third round grade on him as
oh,
well.
okay.
Um,
I thought you were thinking about him like late round one.
no.
Okay.
Could I see him? Could I see the league maybe saying that? Maybe. Um, but the thing about Nussmeier is that the I think the thing that helped his stock the most this game is that they kept talking about his injury and about how apparently he was super injured with an oblique issue all season, and that's why his throw looked worse. He had no zip on the ball half the season, but during this game, it looked controlled. It had better zip on the ball, and just the messaging from the announcers was getting him, I think, some positive movement. So that's why I put him as the guy that his stock's going to rise because of it.
What he showed, and I'm happy. He went in. He ran the offense. He ran it efficiently. He did all the right things. I think I'm a little like when people are like he's a starting quarterback in the NFL, and I can't deny I had him as number 2. But as I start digging in, and I look like I get it, he was injured. But as I start digging in, there are other things that I saw. He's got a gunslinger mentality with a pistol shooter arm. It's good. It's NFL caliber, but it's not what he thinks it is. And you know, I think if he could learn to live within himself, he could shine. But he has not yet shown that. That first touchdown drive, that was as beautiful as you could ever ask for. That was the best he could have done with that opportunity, and I want to acknowledge that he had that. I can't, having another season of tape and more data, I can't ride the NFL starting quarterback train with him.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the guys that had maybe a rougher week, and especially during the game. I put all of the tight ends. We did talk a little bit about Kaczmarek having some nice blocking, but man, those tight ends during the game had bricks for hands. There wasn't they were dropping balls left and right. And I mean, some of the balls weren't great, but still, they were hitting you in the hands. And if they're hitting you in the hands, you got to make the catch. There were guys trying to make body catches, and it looked rough. I was like, Lord have mercy. Even some of the guys that I like, John Michael Gillenborg, who's a guy that I who had a rough season, but I know his pass catching ability was dropping balls. So it was.
Does Doyle have any targets?
Huh?
I tried to look it up, but my computer hates me today. Does Doyle have any targets?
Let me see.
Because I kind of want to be fair to him.
Was he on which team was he on?
Let me try it this way.
I don't see him on this side.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not showing up on either one.
I don't think he had any targets. So I want to be fair to him. It's hard to, but to be fair to the coordinators, like every time they targeted a tight end, it was at best an incomplete pass. Was it Nuss who kind of got robbed? Like one of the better throws of the day turned into an interception?
Yep. Yeah, it was just rough.
I think it's interesting because I'm kind of getting the same kind of vehemence. I think people who are fans of Shador are kind of defending him in a similar way that fans of Diego Pavia are defending him.
Okay.
Because you have him here on the list as a faller, and I know what you're talking about. You're saying he had a little struggle seeing it. He had to roll out of the pocket because he can't see over the pocket. And I'm like, yeah, no. But what his defenders are going to do is look at how he can escape the pocket, look at how he can buy time. And it just goes to show you that Pavia did not, in my opinion, show I can be an in pocket NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're saying, then I saw that too. For me, if you
Yep.
disagree, let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to have a discussion with it. But
Now he'll probably get drafted. I mean, Dylan Gabriel got drafted, and he's a small guy too.
so I am not saying he has no talent whatsoever. I'm saying he's going to have to go to a team who will support what he does. Now, what I will say is I still think there's a role for him in the NFL, the same way with the Saints kind of gadget dude.
Yeah.
And then, maybe he develops in there, but I think he's a guy you put him on a football field and he helps you, but he did not demonstrate the ability to operate from within the pocket. And again, I know you guys are going to be like, well, look at all he did in Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt runs an option offense, and no NFL team, even the Ravens, don't operate a full on option offense
Yeah.
every single play. I am not saying he does not have things he can do. I'm saying you need someone who can drop back, run a NFL under center drop back offense for 600 out of 1,000 plays, and that is not what he did. I'm trying to be balanced, and if you love Javi and you think he's going to be a star, good for you. Plant your flags, stand behind your guy. I'm just trying to be balanced in how I'm describing what I saw from my point of view, and you're welcome to have a different one and to even support it in the comments below.
Yeah. Next guy I'll talk about is Jude Bowery. Jude Bowery is an offensive tackle from Boston College. I feel like I've liked the idea of him for so long, but the metrics don't look good. And then, man, he got into this game and he couldn't keep up with a single pass rusher.
Every edge
He
rusher knew, oh, he's in the field. Everyone wants to play on that side.
blew right by him every single time. The bend, like he could not get hands on these guys, and it was ugly. I honestly, he's barely got a draftable grade for me at this point. And yeah, it looked really rough.
Uh,
Um,
oh,
I know you're going to talk about Chris Johnson for sure. You want
yeah,
me to
go
talk
and
about
talk
Taylor?
about Green. I have a thing to add if you don't say it.
Okay. Taylor Green, the tight end, quarterback. His athleticism is insane. Like he's a big guy, speed. He can run over top of people too, but his accuracy was just some of the throws. I was like, I can make that throw. It was really rough, and though like he took too long to make the throws, so he was like throwing behind guys, and so he did not look like a quarterback that could play at the next level based off of what I saw.
So he is the ultimate eyeball, body beautiful. You get him in the right team, you get him in the right mentorship, you get him in the right development plan, you might have something there. Because you're talking what, 6'6", 230,
Yeah.
10-inch hands, everything you could ask for, biologically speaking, from an NFL quarterback. But I don't know that he can complete a pass from me to Ryan right now. I don't know
Yeah.
that.
And the NFL is not really a developmental league anymore. They
And,
want you to be ready.
and I get that, but we're with the rise of the development, with the rise of the retread project guys. You're and again, Taylor Green's not a round one guy, but Sam Darnold, all these other people are getting ops, and I think in the very near future, the NFL is like, hey, what if we did with Sam Darnold with just like the guy we took in the 5th round? What if the guy we took in the 5th round wasn't the guy we're like, man, I sure hope our starter doesn't get injured, and then just roll that way. But the coordinators, and I don't know what happened. If Taylor Green's like, I want to show I can throw, that would not have been my plan. I remember like the announcers were just screaming like, and to Daniel Jeremiah's point, because he was like the champion of the area, he kind of knew what Taylor Green is not right now. Not what he will never be, but he certainly is not right now. And he's like, Green, what you needed to do is you needed to go show off your stride, show off your athleticism, show off your mobility. Like you if his goal was I'm gonna prove I can throw, he did not meet that goal. But I'm kind of curious for people who were in the know, because to me it looked like the effort either on his part or coordinator's part is like, show him and rip it. And like it didn't look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm going to talk about Johnson, right?
Yeah.
So I have Johnson here as a loser because this was supposed to be his coming out party. This was supposed to be him saying, "Hi, I'm the second best corner in the class. I'm a lockdown guy." And then he got cooked on day one, and he got mossed on day two. At the very least, he got helmet tapped on day two. And and Ryan said a wonderful thing when we were talking about it off stream. Ryan was like, he's just the ultimate boomer bust.
Yeah.
And that guy lives in round two at best. So I think if you get him in round two or even round three, you might be getting a lot of value. You might be getting a steal. But I think he kind of practiced and played himself out of the first round, and he could have practiced and played himself into it with a better Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I ended up having to think a second round grade on him right now. So, but all right, so that's the All-Star games. Next big thing is the Combine in a few weeks. So we'll have a show after that to talk about our risers and fallers as well. But now let's do some fun. I think we're gonna alternate picks, Matt, and I'll start with the first one because I want an easy layup. And we're gonna do a first round mock. And this is, let's do what we think they will do, not what we would do.
Okay.
So this is gonna be based off of what we think they will do, and we'll post this on social media and stuff afterwards as well. Pretty simple with this first pick. The Raiders are going to go with Fernando Mendoza. I don't see a single world in where they do anything else, so I'm not even going to talk too much about it because there's no point wasting the time.
So the Jets, if you're looking at that, if you're looking at what the Jets are doing, and the question is what do the Jets believe? I would not be shocked if they took wide receiver. I would not be shocked if they took edge, linebacker. So, do they go nuts? Maybe they trade back up higher to get Simpson a little later, which would still be a mistake, but there it is.
Well, they have a second first round pick, so
yeah. And what I mean is, like, when they pick later, do they trade up?
Oh yeah.
To try to get Simpson and ensure they got him. Man, just stay in the 27 class. You couldn't get Mendoza; it didn't work out. There are a couple seniors who should work for you. And while this wasn't the draft, glorious day everyone thought it was going to be, even next year there's going to be two. On average every year it's like 2.5 guys go in round one. I think 3 go in round one. I think only 1 should.
Yeah.
So I'm not as high on Arvell Reese as literally everyone else on earth. Ryan, are you a Reeser?
Not super high, but I understand it. Yeah.
So I do. I understand what they're saying, but you're projecting with Reese. So I would not take Reese, but he seems to be the consensus second best player in the draft. It's a position of need. And if you can't get your franchise quarterback, then at the very least you need to get a definite foundational piece. So I think they'll take Reese, and I hope it works out for him.
All right. So now we've got the Cardinals on. Cardinals, I think, are playing for 2027. They have a new coach. They're going to give him at least a few years, and I think they want to prepare to be ready to draft a quarterback next year. Obviously, they're not going to go get a quarterback here anyways. So one of the most important things you need in that case is an offensive line, and they have had horrific problems at right tackle. It just so happens that there's a really good right tackle in this draft, Francis Mauigoa. And I know it's a little high, but when you have a draft right now that is relatively low on top end talent, you can go get the guy that you want, and I think Francis Mauigoa is what they would do.
All right. So with the Titans, I know Robert Saleh. Now, Robert Saleh is a traits guy, so he's not taking Bain, and I don't think he's taking Bailey because Bailey's Bailey can play on the edge. He might be better as an outside linebacker, and while he projects better than Bain on a physical traits area, I don't see if Salah's going to take a guy top 3, he's going to take a traits guy. So if you don't believe in the edge rushers, I would Bailey. I'm going to take Bailey. It might I like Bailey. I would be happy with Bailey, but I don't think Bailey's going to Tennessee. So there are no like edge rushers in that class unless something really happens. Because the best box checker would be Messidor, and that would shock the world. So what I do think though is if you can't get a key edge guy, I think they would have gone Maui Noah if he was there. So the next best thing for them to do is grab Carnell Tate. Give Ward a true number 1 to throw to. And there's some good line help and some good edge rushers down in the second round where there's more value.
Yeah. All right. Now with the Giants, this is gonna be another interesting one because they want to help. Probably they want to help their quarterback. Before they hired John Harbaugh, I would have leaned towards wide receiver, but I don't think I can do that because John Harbaugh, like in his time in the Ravens, man, they didn't touch wide receivers this high. I mean, they weren't this high very often, but most of the time they grabbed wide receivers later on. And he's just not been very good at drafting wide receivers when he did. So I think that probably means the tackle or corner is going to be where they go. I like Mansour Delane, but I'm not sure that he's going to go that high. Spencer Fano is nice, but again, I don't know that he's going to go that high either. So this is probably the toughest one for me.
You know who I just heard they're talking about?
Who?
Downs.
Downs, really?
It would be historic, but Harbaugh kept talking about the value Hamilton had on his team.
Actually, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That does make sense. The back end of their defense, it gives them the same type of guy that he had in Kyle Hamilton. Not the same size profile, but yeah, I'll go with that.
All right. So the Browns, I'm relatively confident. I'm going to see if the quarterback I drafted last year is my guy. I'm relatively sure about that. But we'll kind of see how that all plays out. So that means you're going with the wait for a year, and if it doesn't work out, grab a QB next year. That means you want a tackle or wide receiver. If I'm being honest, I'm higher on Fano than I am on Tyson. I don't know if I'm higher on anyone else. Like I love Mekhi Lemon. I think Tyson. We're being challenged with what do I think they're gonna do. I think that there are some interesting wide receiver options lower in the draft. Lomu.
And they do have 2 first-round picks as well. So
yep, Lomu to me feels like the best option at this pick. If Carnell Tate's off the board, or not Lomu, Spencer Fano. I'm going to get those two switched, but you plug Fano at right tackle and you call that a day. And you got one of the better linemen. I think you got to develop. Worst case scenario, kick him in the guard until he can put on some weight. So Fano has a lot of upside. I think I might like the Georgia kid more. When it's all said and done, I think I already like Ian Archer better, but Kate's off the board, and I don't think this team goes with I don't think this team goes with a Tyson or a Lemon. So that's kind of where my thinking's going. So I think they go Spencer Fano.
All right. Now I listen to the radio a lot here in DC area, and the thing that they're talking about is edge and linebacker for Washington, and they are thinking they're going to address edge before the draft in free agency, and like potentially throwing money at a guy like Trey Hendrickson. So, but in this, if they're in this scenario, and you've got Bain and Bailey, and I know Bain has been rumored to be falling a little bit. I forget who it was. Mel Kiper believes he's going to be there, around the Bengals pick still. So I'm going to go with David Bailey because I think they need that pass rush. Sonny Styles will be my next pick that I think I would go with. But with David Bailey still on the board, that's who I'm going to go.
And I don't think Ruben Bain makes it past the Saints in that scenario because the Saints need D line help. A lot of people think Bain can at worst kick in.
Yeah.
But Bain kind of fits some similarities in what the Saints like and what they like to do. So it's a good fit. And he's a high motor guy. So I think that works out.
All right. There you go. We'll do that. And then here with the Chiefs, I keep hearing it's going to be Jeremiah Love. I'm not a big fan of drafting running backs that high. But again, if you have them that high and they have a solid team, they just had injuries last year. And so I think that's where they're going to go. And so I'm going to go with what I've been hearing.
So I'm with you there. Do you not even take a glance at Tyson or Lemon?
I mean, I would, but they've also got so Love can be a weapon out of the backfield too in terms of his pass catching ability. So I think he kills two birds with one stone, and he is the clear best running back, whereas Lemon and Tyson are not the clear best wide receivers. So I think it's just a value thing there at that point.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna go with, and then you get to pick for my Bengals.
Oh, you're sprinting. You would shoot me. It's Sonny Styles.
And that's what I hope that is correct. Now my Bengals could also add to the linebacker room in free agency, but that is where I hope they go.
Honestly, there's a lot of house money in that scenario. I would like. I don't draft injured people.
Yeah.
But McCoy wouldn't be complete insanity. I would be very happy with Delane. I currently have Mansour Delane as my number 2 or 3 prospect in what's currently my roughest of rough. I'm starting to put my board together, but I think Mansour Delane's at worst the third best player in this class, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's where I am going with the Dolphins. They need some corner help. I could see them going McCoy, and if his medicals check out, McCoy might be the guy. But again, we're both pretty hesitant when it comes to injuries, and Mansour Delane is an awesome.
Yep. So what are those needs? What are those needs saying? Running back,
edge, linebacker, and safety. They would love for either all of their fans. Their dream pick is Sonny Styles.
Yeah, and this is a worst case scenario for them.
It is.
Do they sign? Do they sign people? Do they tag and trade some people?
They're not going to have money.
If they're going to go edge, they're going to go in a direction Ryan and I would not approve of, but they are also traits-based guys. So they're going to go Keldrick Falk because of the height, weight, speed, all the measurements are there. No production. He hasn't done anything, but it's the prettiest person at the bar. So.
And I think, the thing about that too is I think it does make sense because of the other edge they got last year, with Ezraku, who is not he's not the set the edge run guy, which is what Keldrick Falk was this year. It was dominant in the run. All right, so we got the Rams, and they need corners. That is where I'm going, and I'm going to take Jeremiah McCoy. And I feel like they would take the risk. They've done that before. And Jemima McCoy, if he is what he was in 2024, it's going to be a home run pick.
The Ravens sprint to the podium and take either Tyson or Lemon. I know Mel Kiper would want it to be Lemon, but I don't know, Ryan. You know the Ravens better than I do. My bias is showing. I do think Tyson is great, but I think Tyson's a round two guy, not a round one guy. I don't see the explosiveness people keep telling me exists there. So what do you think, Lemon or Tyson?
See, I don't know. That's tough because I don't know this staff because like I've known the Ravens staff for a while. You don't think Mentor would consider a D lineman, especially with Matabike potentially having his career over?
You could talk me in the woods. You gonna talk me in the woods?
I don't. I would hate it and despise it as a Bengals fan. I'm just. That is something I could see them having. I could see them going wide receiver too. It just depends on what they, what they think is the best value. But Woods is reportedly dropping to round 2 by some people. So
that would be insane. Don't get me wrong. Woods is not a top 5 guy, or at least he might end up being the best player in this class. But a rough year kind of hurt him. The Ravens are probably happy at slot, and I don't think they think Lemon's gonna start outside. Tyson is an outside guy. You could talk me into Woods, but I think that this is all about Lamar.
Okay.
And that means Lamar wants another reliable and Tyson is reliable. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to be there. He'll make Lamar look good. And there are some D-line options that are intriguing in this class. I would not be shocked to see Woods. In this scenario, it would be between those 3 guys. In this instance, I think it's about Lamar, and that means it's going to be Tyson.
All right, there we go. All right. Now this is an interesting one with the Buccaneers. They could go any which way, I think. I would lean towards going edge here, but I could also see this being the spot for Vega Yone because they do need some interior line help as well. And I don't think that's too high for a guard. One went higher than that last year. So I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a starting guard to help protect their quarterback.
Okay. You didn't see, our bias is showing there too, because the Chiefs passed up on Sadiq, and now the Bucs have passed up on Sadiq, and that might not be a thing. We're not high on Sadiq.
No.
So the Jets.
Do they do it, or do they, or are they have 2, or is it do they have 3 next year?
They have 3 next year.
They have 3 next year. So
3 next year.
Are they kicking the can?
So I reserve the right to be convinced otherwise, but I just feel like the Jets are all in on 27.
Yeah.
So who I did I have them? I had them take Arvell Reese, right?
Yes.
So the Jets are just deliriously happy, sprinting to the podium to take Makai Lemon.
There you go.
And they're a happy group.
All right. So now we've got the Lions on the board. Now I know that their fans are actually not happy with DJ Reader with how he's played. And that is a potential cut candidate I could see for them. And I know they need edge help as well. Corner, I'm not as high on Avian Terrell, so I'm not sure about that. I honestly think this will be one of those situations where the guy fell to them, so they would take him. I'm going to take Peter Woods.
Yep. I am not high on Howell. If Howell's going to succeed, he needs to be the number 2 edge rusher.
Okay.
So that would make sense.
That would work there, yeah.
I have to ask the question. We just fired the guy who drafted JJ, and the coach who proclaimed teams fail quarterbacks has already failed a quarterback. Do they look at Simpson?
I don't think they would at this point. I think they would send it at least one more year, because they can use the injury excuse. They would love for Jeremiah Love to fall down here if he's there. That I think that would be the clear pick. But
What are the needs? I can't really see.
it says center and defensive back. Besides that, which I could see that from the defensive back standpoint.
Well, so I'm lower on Terrell, but I don't think Colton Hood is an insane pick here.
No, I think
Colton's my guy.
Yeah.
Colton's my guy, so I take Colton Hood here personally.
You want me to do that?
That's what okay. I don't know what the league really thinks about Avion Terrell.
Yeah, me neither.
I know what I think of Colton Hood, and if they need a defensive back.
And there's several big name guys that are putting Hood that high too.
Yeah, I think Hood myself.
Okay, there we go. All right, and the Panthers. This is going to be an interesting one. I think D-line makes a ton of sense. I'm not high on Caleb Banks, but he's the guy with all the traits. They took a couple edge rushers last year, so they're not going to go there. Wide receiver would be an interesting one. But I don't think they're going to go back-to-back years wide receiver in round one. So I'm not super high on the I kind of like CJ Allen.
Oh, the line, the Cowboys want to punch you right now. That's who I was going to take.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think they would go defensive line. The question is, are they going to go with the traits guy and Caleb Banks? Or are they going to go with Cade McDonald? And
well,
I think
so to contribute to your information, I'm pretty sure the Panthers have hacked my draft board. They like guys I like. And so they might take McDonald.
Yeah.
I don't think they take Banks because half my shadow team's on the Panthers.
All right. Well, we'll go Cade McDonald because I think that makes sense anyways.
Now, literally just before we get on, I put Lee Hunter above McDonald. So that I think they go D-line and they take one of those three guys.
Yeah, I don't think Lee Hunter's worth a top 40 pick. Now, 41, beautiful. That'd be great.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking at Hunter.
But, Bengals have picked 41, which is why.
All right, I'll shut up then. And then the Cowboys sprint to the podium and get the second best linebacker in the draft.
CJ Allen, there we go.
Yeah, and they're delighted.
All right, Steelers are going to take Ty Simpson. I'm just kidding. That's what I would love to do because
stick with me here though, because I know why you would love it. But we're looking at a guy who needs rep, who needs time, and Aaron Rodgers has proven his mentorship ability. It wouldn't be crazy.
I mean, yeah, this feels like one of those years that we don't see another quarterback go round one.
I still think 3 go.
This could be.
I think, and you know the Steelers better, but this is the range where we're going to see Ty Simpson go and someone, and for his sake, maximizing his potential, coming in behind Aaron Rodgers, getting.
So here's the thing, though. Aaron Rodgers is a free agent, and he probably won't make his decision until into the offseason because he doesn't want to do any of that crap. And you don't think he'd be pissed that they wasted the first round pick on a quarterback when they could go get someone to help him?
I read reports that said he thought they were going to draft a guy earlier anyway. He expects to be a mentor. Okay,
then you know what? I will do that, and I will chuckle the whole time because I think that's not going to work out very well.
So to expand on this, the only reason Cole Payton isn't going in the top 5 is he's got fewer than 20 starts.
Yeah, he's got like 13.
Ty Simpson has fewer than 20 starts. But if you're gonna take a chance on a guy with few starts, then and even better, Aaron, you're still the guy, but we're gonna put this guy in here and we're gonna kick the crap out of him all through the offseason. We're going to give him all the reps. We're going to give him all the snaps. We're going to play him all preseason, and you rest up. and we draft Ty Simpson for our future, and you are our present because we're our defense, though aging, can still come in and do well. We believe this guy can be our answer when you leave. That and now Ryan's like, yeah, but he got fewer than 20 starts, so he's going to be trash. That's what history says. But if I'm Ty, I want to go there or I want to go to the Rams.
Okay. All right, Chargers. Who you got?
The Charger. What are their needs?
It says center guard and D line.
Now, the Chargers are LTP guys, so I think they sprint to the podium and take Caleb Banks.
Okay, I get behind that. All right, the Eagles are interesting. They could go a bunch of different ways. They also spend a ton of money in free agency. This is the spot where I think Kenyon Sadiq goes. It's a need for them. They'll use him in a way. I think they're good enough, creative enough to where they will use him in a way that is beneficial to his game. And I think it'll, with the wide receivers out there, I think it'll help him have an impact early on. So I'm going to go Kenyon Sadiq.
So my plan, if I was the GM for the Browns, I would take Fano up top, and at worst, and I mean this respectfully, if my worst case scenario is I get Denzel Boston as my wide receiver, I'm a happy guy
Okay.
because he's a red zone threat, reliable hands, great catch radius, and he's kind of like, if I'm correct about what they believe, he's a very Shedeur Sanders kind of receiver because Shedeur is like, I'm going to find you and I'm going to throw the ball and it's your job to go get it. And Denzel Boston does that. So
Okay.
I really think that's a thing.
And they are also likely losing David Njoku. So that gives them that red zone threat there. Mm-hmm. All right. So the Bears is interesting. It says their needs are D-line, linebacker, and safety. They were tied with the Bengals for the second least amount of sacks in all of football this year. So I think they could also go the edge route here, and I don't think they'd go Christian Miller. There's not a linebacker I'm going to take that high. I could see Emmanuel McNeil Warren, but the reason safety is a need is because they have a safety that's a free agent. Man, this one's tough. Because they definitely need some pass rush because your back end gets a little easier to deal with if you can get some pass rush. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards taking T.J. Parker to give them some pass rush juice to help them get some sacks.
Okay, that's a solid value pick. What are we looking at with the Bills?
Bills says wide receiver, edge, linebacker, and defensive back.
So you want to know what horrifies me the most? That it goes this way and they take Conception, because I'm not high in Conception. Do you think the Bills would absolutely take Conception? Like, I'm not doing it right now, but I'm talking it out with you. But you took Conception, like you have him on your team already, and he didn't work. They're now. I believe in Zachariah Branch. And I would, if it were me and it has to be a wide receiver, that would make a lot of sense. I also believe in Messidor, but I'm sitting here going like, oh no, the Bills would absolutely take a burner wide receiver with unreliable hands. Can you tell me they wouldn't do it?
No. Because I think they say he doesn't need weapons, but he needs weapons.
So if it were me, I would take Messidor here and Zachariah Branch or any one of those other, like Surratt might be there. If it were me, I would do that. But because I'm saying, what do I think the Bills would do? I think they'd take Conception, even though I am not high in Conception.
Me neither. All right. Now we've got your guys. Now, I talked about the Bengals being tied for second at least sacks. The team with the least sacks is your guys
Yeah.
in all of football. And now part of that may be because of injury. And so this is where I am not sure what I would do for the Niners, because I could see them taking a left tackle of the future. I could see them taking um, a guy that can play guard and like Pregnon. Um, I could see them taking an edge, but they also have two edges. They have Bosa and they have Michael Williams. Um, what are your thoughts on what you think your team needs to do here?
So the Niners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Stay with me here. I'm a Niners fan. So ride with me, my fellow Niners. We need a wide receiver. I know that. We need interior O line. We need a center and we need a right tackle. I love Monroe Freeling. There are a lot of things that we need, but I think I understand Shanahan and what his belief system is. Whether or not I am all in on that, um, Proctor is tempting, Freeling is tempting, um, but Shanahan's trying to win a Super Bowl this year with this line, and maybe there are some options on day two that'll last. But what's sitting right there for you right now is Akeem Messidor, who who when you put him alongside a hopefully healthy Bosa, you have solved because they're hold on, let me count again. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're top 10 in touchdowns scored.
Okay.
So in their mind, they're like, we're scoring okay. And yeah, we can add some pieces, but our problem isn't what we score. Our problem is in what we allow. And that leads me to believe they're going to go Akeem Messidor. And there are a lot I would be happy with. I would be happy with Proctor as a developmental guy. Put him in at left guard and let him develop. I'd be happy with the Georgia kid. In this situation, there's a lot I'd be happy with. But if I'm trying to get over the hump, I'm trying to stop the other team from forcing me to be in the top 5 offensively rather than just top 10. So I think they go Akeem Messidor here. And I think that'd be a good pick. Maybe not perfect, but good.
Yeah. All right. And with the Texans, interior offensive line is a thing that they need. And I think I am going to quickly take Emmanuel
Oh, yeah,
Pregnon,
that's a home run.
because I think that would help them. They need to get a little more stability. There's not a running back worth this pick at this point, so because that's a big need of theirs.
I
But
think he's the best interior lineman in the class.
yeah, so
Jennings Dunker.
maybe. All right, what do you think your favorite Rams are gonna do?
Okay, here you go. Open up those quarterbacks, Ryan. Do they take a shot on one of these guys? I'm talking particularly. I don't know. I've been kind of in a box. What's going on with Chambliss?
He is still fighting heavily to get his last year, and now he has Joey Aguilar, I think, also fighting with him to get an extra year. So from what I heard, because he did not declare, um, if he loses, he would have to go in the supplemental draft. So I don't believe he is actually an option.
Do the Rams? Do the Rams have 2 picks next year?
I am not sure. Yeah, actually, hold on. I can hit trade and it'll tell me. They do not.
Okay. So we gave the Steelers a guy. We gave the Raiders a guy.
I personally don't think there's a like. I think if they are going to take a guy, it's they either take Simpson at 13, or if Simpson's here, they would take him. Um,
I think they would take Simpson at 13, and if Simpson fell, they'd take him. I don't think the Rams are silly enough to reach for a quarterback that someone might reach for.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think offensive line I think makes a little more sense.
I think they go Caden Proctor here
Okay.
because, again, it's a traits based thing. His production hasn't been there, but what I've learned in my studies throughout this year, that athleticism is going to translate.
Yeah.
And so, getting him on a team that's going to allow him to kind of work, especially if Stafford's back. So he's gonna have time because he won't be forced to he won't be forced to be on an island for very long with Stafford throwing that football.
Now this is a position I don't know what they would do here. I don't think they would take Stowers. There's no running back worth that. Um, Connor Liu is going to be a year, or at least half the year. Slaughter, I don't know that he would go this high. The linebacker position could be something of interest. I could see, ooh,
Golday or Hill?
well, I was going to say Golday or maybe Trotter, who I'm not as high on Trotter, but I know the traits people are going to love Trotter.
I got burned on Trotter. I have a Trotter, and no one wants to play him.
They say this is the better Trotter.
Okay. Do I
so
even have him on my board because I'm all mad? Let me.
So that's what I'm going to say they're going to do. They're going to go Josiah Trotter.
I need to put Trotter on my board, but I'm mad. I'm like, I got a Trotter. No one wants him.
All right, what are the Patriots doing?
Uh,
Maybe they need a left tackle.
So I think this is a good spot for Jennings Dunker because I think he can play right tackle. I think it's a good stop. Ooh, okay. Help me out here. You play Dunker. At worst case, you got a guard.
Mm-hmm.
You got line versatility. You got a guy who might be able to hang out at right tackle. Or do you take Monroe Freeling and let him and their guy this year kind of battle it out, and the loser goes to the right side?
Well, I don't even think that it's necessarily the loser goes to the right side. It might be the loser goes to left guard,
And I don't think so. The better tackle is Freeling.
Yeah.
Well, the better left tackle is Freeling. So I just don't know if they are ready to give up on a left tackle. So
Yeah, that's tough.
I think
You don't think Ian
so. I
Akers?
love Ian Archer. Why I like Dunker here is because of the line versatility.
Okay.
But why I like Ian Archer is he is, and linemen are going to start flying off the board right now. Let's go Ian Archer because you need a guarantee tackle. I'm going to play him at right side, and we'll trust the guy we drafted last year. I would not be shocked if they go left tackle in that instance.
All right. And then so here we've got the Seahawks, likely blowout winners of the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They need in some interior offensive line, linebacker, and corner. Let's see. I think corner makes the most sense for them. And I could see Chris Johnson going there. I could see Keith Abney going there. I don't know that I could see Pons. Everybody loves this Brandon Sisse guy. And so I think that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to trust some of the higher ups and put him there, even though I'm not necessarily super high on him.
Okay.
All right. There we go. That's our round one mock. So we'll put that up on.
Let's do a quick summary. They like that on the video side of things.
There we go.
So we got Mendoza, Reese, Maui Noah, Tate, Downs, Fano, Bailey, Bain, Love, Styles, Delane, Falk, McCoy, Tyson, Lemon. I think there's
Or Ione and then Lemon.
oh yeah, McCoy, Tyson, Ione, Lemon, Peter Woods, Colton Hood, Caden McDonald, C.J. Allen, Ty Simpson, Caleb Banks, Kenyon Sadiq, Denzel Boston, T.J. Parker, Casey Conception, Akeem Messidor, Emmanuel Pregnon. I think that's the steal of round one myself. Kane Proctor, Josiah Trotter, Maxine Archer, and Brandon Cisse.
So if this were to fall this way for me as a Bengals fan, I'm a little sad that some of the guys fell off earlier, and I'm actually more sad now that Matt made it clear that the Giants, that could be a spot for Downs. But if I've got Sonny Styles and Peter Wood sitting on the board there at pick 10, as a Bengals fan, I'm like, okay, one of my big needs is going to be filled. So I'm pretty happy there. How would you feel in this scenario with your Niners pick, with the board when your Niners got there?
I would be again like when it fell to my pick, there were guys I would have been genuinely okay with. I think our biggest needs are right tackle. Like I was thinking about Ian Archer at 27, but if you put me in that situation and you say it's got to be one of these guys, look, if Lemon Boston, Tate, and there's a fourth one, Tyson. If one of those is there at wideout, then you don't want to pass out. You don't want to pass up on one of them. But if you think like, no, I can score points, I just can't stop anyone from scoring, then Akeem Messidor is going to go a long way to solving your problems in that. So I would have been happy with the position they were in, and I'd be most happy with that as the pick, and I do think it makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well, so that is all we got for you today. We are now going to transition into doing our top tens. So from now all the way up until pretty much the end of the draft, when we get towards our actual big board reveals, we are going to be talking about positional top tens starting next week with defensive tackle and edge. So we're going to talk about all the D-line next week. So be ready to come on and tell us how dumb you think we are, or how smart you think we are. And just get ready, because it's going to be nonstop draft coverage from now until the draft, which then we'll take a nice little break afterwards. But that's it for tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you see everything that we have. And we'll see you next time.